Hey everyone, it's Pam here, and we are continuing the conversation with Sam Alawie. If you missed last week, be sure to catch it, and we're going to continue on now.
For space that costed back then $1,200. So I rented the space, and my sister and my friends say I'm crazy. And I immediately find used equipment. And I looked for a lab name, and I looked, there's no Beverly Hills Dental Lab. I said, I'm taking the name. So I take the name, and I told the building, well, I'm here, I'm a lab technician, let me do work for you. And this is how it took off. Out of no money, started very little, bought little equipment, and I started with one-man show, which is me. Used to sleep in the lab sometimes to finish work for just dentists in the building. And I got super busy, hired one person, second person, then the space became too small. So now 2 years later, moved to bigger space in the same building, and that bigger space expanded to another big space. Now we're 10 people, and then 2014, to make this long story short, 2014, I said, I need a much bigger lab. I need a training center. I like to mentor others and move to the current facility. I built it in 2016. And from 2016 till now, we've been in this place, and we're actually about to expand a little bit. So this is the story. Of course, this is a quick story, but of course had an ups and down, and I'm not shy to tell you, I used to go to the dentist, say, please give me what you owe me because I need to cover payroll. Write me a check now. I used to take the check, run to the bank and make sure no payroll check bounces. People didn't know behind the scene, and everybody see, oh, look at Sam has this lab and this facility, and now he also, I acquired a few labs through the process. One is Michel Magnan, who's still working here, and then Pascal joined me a year and a half ago as an educator for my educator center. And all this didn't happen overnight, and behind the scene, people did not know what I was doing. But it's just an example of, you have to lay low, work hard, and put yourself in uncomfortable positions and uncomfortable situations where you need to be outside your comfort zone. Don't just tell me, oh, I can't do this because I only can do that. No, no, no. Push yourself beyond the limits. This is where you start feeling your success. This is you start being successful. That's all.
That's so good.
It's so good. And you know what? I hope people who listen to this need to listen to this probably 3 or 4 times, because in this story, there's so many little lessons in here that you can take with you to grow yourself professionally, personally, and in your career and with your team. So let's talk about your education center that you have now, because I get the emails. I'm kind of dying to get out there, but tell us about what types of education you provide.
Okay. Before I dive into the style of education, I want to say something. While I was already on my own in 2000, end of 2006, my good friend, Dana Comfort from Nobel Biocare, she said to me one day, there's a group of, a surgeon group, a study club, they're looking for a speaker. And that's Dr. David Salahani, good friend of mine. And they're looking for a speaker for an evening. Would you willing to come speak? Because I'm hearing some of your work reputation around here. The dentists are happy with you. Would you speak? Knowing me, you tell me jump in the fire, I'm gonna jump in the fire if there's benefit. Maybe I'll get burned, but there's benefit, I'm gonna do it. So I said, I look at Dana, I say, yeah, absolutely. When is that? She said, like in 2-3 weeks. She gave me the date. I say, okay, I'm gonna be frank. I never had a PowerPoint in my entire life, all my work, because I was focused on survival, not documenting cases. And then, so I had some pictures of my cases, but I didn't have like tons of it. And then I accepted that challenge. Now I had to go on YouTube to learn how to build a PowerPoint, which is I didn't know. So then I had to go buy a laptop which is barely enough money for it. But I did. So I managed to put something together, and I went and I entered the room to speak. I never done a public speaking in my entire life before. And when I entered the room, my head started sweating. I said to myself, what I just did to myself. I was hoping the computer like explode and I can save myself from an embarrassment maybe. And it's funny because my message here to the young student, I was out of my comfort zone. And then the projector is on, the first slide is on, and I didn't know how to even start. Good evening, good morning. Or hey guys, my voice couldn't come out, from my mouth. And I still remember it was like yesterday, and I looked at people and I said, I'm here to share with you what I try to do my best work, hopefully, and excuse my English, I'm gonna start the lecture. And I started the lecture, and after 2 slides, my brain was in my work, and I actually forget the entire room and who they are. And I don't remember when I finished this lecture what I said. Nothing, zero. But all I remember that on my way home that evening, I called an oral surgeon that he has a study club. I said, if you ever need a lab technician to speak for your study club, I'll come speak to you. Why? Few hours ago, I was scared of speaking. And then 2 hours later, I'm calling someone, I'm ready to do it again. We're always hesitant sometimes to be outside of our comfort zone. So for the student that listen to this, please don't. When you're scared, that's the moment you got to do it. Do it. That's my message. Back to my educational center.
Mhm.
From that lecture, that was a turning point. You know what? Because people that were inside that room, all of them became clients of mine. Slowly, I gained that business. And this is where it opened my eyes. And I said to myself, I have to be involved in education, because if staying at the bench, and this is the message for the technician, you stay at the bench, you're not going to grow. You're not going to grow your business. There's no time in the world. You can go visit all dentists in America, but you can be on one stage and meet 50% of these dentists or 20% of these dentists in one lecture. So I said, why I don't do an educational center or some classes? So I start doing full arch denture conversions here and there. Nobel Biocare hired me, and I start slowly speaking. And every time I lecture, I gain clients. So it became a passion of mine. And then when I decided to build this bigger place with a training center, fully equipped, my goal was to host a lot of classes, and I used to host a lot of classes, but the classes were basically, and I said hosting, not organizing. So people used to rent my space, study club used to come in the evening here. So we had a lot of activities, but never my own full curriculum. So I met Pascal and Michel in 2004, actually, 1 year after I've been here, and we became, we got to connect because they speak French, and for me it was my comfort zone also. So when Michel joined me in 2014, end of 13, I always thought about what a duo. Michel is a master lab technician, well respected, and one who inspired me a lot and learned a lot from him. Of course, I also learned a lot from my own team here, because everybody has strengths somewhere in our profession. You can't do it all perfectly, but you can have strength. So I kept Pascal in the back of my head, and slowly with time, I kept talking to him to join my organization. Of course, Pascal been in academia for 30 years. It's hard to be in a private setting, I would say, of doing things, So at the end, after literally losing my hair, I convinced him, seriously, I convinced him. And October 2 years ago, we signed contract and he joined our team. And I name it under Manier Education from a marketing perspective. You know, I'm the founder and the CEO of the place, but Alawie is not like John Smith in America. It's a difficult name to remember also, you know, and it's not like Coyce and Spear, which is I respect tremendously. They have a name you can remember. Manier, he built his name, Michel built his name, and the name is well known. I said, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to name it Manier Education. So this is a star is born under Manier Education. And we offer quite a bit of courses right now. So one is all minimally invasive, from composite to what's called biomimetic preparation for veneers. The right method of do things that's taught by Dr. Manier himself. Of course, we have a faculty group from teaching full digital, full arch that will be with my good friend, Dr. Wael At. And then there are courses that will be revealed very soon on 3D printing, exocad, tree shape, any digital planning in dentistry, where students, most of our students been in business for a long time. They come for a refresher and knowing new things, learning from Pascal. They follow his workflow and they've been really happy because we offer a curriculum. People comes back and say, I'm glad I learned from first lesson. It did help me. This is how it changed my practice. So this is what Manier Education offers today. And of course, we're opening for other faculty to join us. And I'll be also involved in teaching on implant dentistry.
That is so exciting. And I have to pick your brain for 1 second about
Please.
implant restorations. And, you know, it's funny. I feel like there's such a push now to save money and, you know, kind of take the zirconia route because it's not as costly. But I'm pros, I'm a little old school. I like predictable. I like gold. I like metal. What is your go-to for your implant restorations? Are you kind of leaning into this zirconia push, or are you kind of staying a little bit more traditional?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's usually not my decision to tell the dentist what they want as far as material, right? Unless they order something, it did not make sense. They're gonna get that phone call from me, say, look, you asked me to do this case, but this material, like 5-unit Emax bridge, this gonna break, right? So I'm not upsetting Ivoclar here, but I know I would want to do 3 Pontics and 2 on an Emax posterior, you know. I want something a little stronger. Of course, PFM, it's still the gold standard. But show me a lab today that can do beautiful PFM, that's 1, 2, and beautiful feldspathic veneers. I can count them on my fingers, you know. So that trade has gone, and why? Because there's a lack of trained lab technician, and how easy it is to mill a shaded zirconia and even hand polish it. And doctors have been accepting some sort of this mediocre work and aesthetics. So in reality, if I'm doing a massive bridge with 2-3 Pontic, PFM is the gold standard in my humble opinion. Zirconia is the replacement of PFM in today's world and in today's economy in dentistry, because you don't have to pay for the gold and you don't have to have a skilled technician. That's why it's a trend that's been going very strong and it's been pushed stronger and stronger, and we're gonna see metal disappearing more and more. I'm happy when I cast the gold crown. I love casting. I still melt the gold and I cast myself, and I'm happy to do it. PFM, it's literally vanished from our, you know, we still do some, but it's not really the first choice for dentists to choose, because from cost perspective, and 2, it needs somebody that understands layering of ceramic or not, it's gonna look very opacious and more green color because of the metal. So it requires skills. But the most beautiful restoration back in the day, there were PFMs. Was porcelain margin, 90 degree. Nobody want to prep those aggressively now, but that's usually, it used to be the best looking crown. Of course, if you avoid the crown and do more minimally invasive veneer or 3/4 of, you're going to do with lithium disilicate or feldspathic.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to tooth-borne restorations, minimally invasive techniques, I'm doing more and more with composite and obviously, smaller restorations, onlay type things. And I feel like for me, at least in my practice, that's evolved into being more modern, if you would. But I feel like when it comes to implant dentistry, I just like tried and true. And I love metal. And I love when I talk to a lot of my pros friends, they still feel that same way. But I feel like a lot of dentists are leaning into this, these materials that might not offer the long range predictability that PFM might do. So I think this is a great message for young dentists to not abandon some of the traditional materials that you learned about in dental school.
Absolutely. So I would, in my humble opinion, you need to learn all the fundamental of dentistry, even the old way of doing things, understand it, apply it in digital work flow, right? And then choose the right material for every case. And I can tell you, I've seen dentists that have been only 5 years out of school, you know, they're doing much better than dentists been 20 years out of school. Why? Because the dentists that have been 20 years out of school have not taken those important updates in our profession, the CE credit, the classes, the courses that help you to be to the next level. And young dentists out of school 5 years later, they excel in digital dentistry and they make it nicer and better and more accurate. So I enjoy working with dentists out of school. I mentor them, help them. They also help me because they also have now more knowledge in computers and et cetera, et cetera. I come from a generation of technician where I transition in mid-career, I had to transition to digital, which is I learned the analog and the digital workflow at the same time. It did help me. Yes.
It's amazing that there's so many great lessons there. I love it, right? For us to be able to embrace the digital technology and the workflow that's there, but to not choose materials because we either lack the skills or we feel that the economy makes the right choice the best choice. This
Yeah.
is great. We have to have a part two. My gosh.
Yeah, we must.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
ready for it when you want.
All right.
I have a
Yeah.
lot of story about uh, cases that came through the door. As you see behind me, all these photos, these are some of my wall of fame. But I want to tell you one little story. So I met Sylvester Stallone a few years back, and I had to do some implant work, through his dentist. And so I suggested the frame try-in, all these steps. And I wanted to make sure there's no room for error. So on the second step of this try-in, Sylvester Stallone looked at me and said, why it's taking so long and why I have to come back again. He was not angry, but he was questioning. And he goes, I saw on TV, teeth in a day. So I responded to him. I say, Mr. Stallone, I saw you on TV killing hundreds and hundreds of people in your movies. Did you kill anyone? He said, no. I said, teeth in a day is the same thing, false advertisement. To do things right, I need to go these 4 steps: impression, try-in, provisionals, and then finished product. He said, I understand. He laughed and walked away.
I love it. You went 9 rounds with Rocky.
Yes. Bam, bam, bam. He wrote me a nice message that's on the wall. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Pam, how do we figure out how to do this again? This is amazing because first of all, I don't know if you've seen Sam's Wall of Fame. It's awesome. And as awesome as the wall are, your guitars everywhere. are crazy cool. So I feel like we have to do like a round 2 tour of Beverly Hills Dental Studio.
So yeah, round two maybe will be more stories about well-known people that have been to this place, and from Neil Young to Ozzy Osbourne, and guitar from Coldplay, Van Halen signed a lot of. Then Leo recently signed a poster, gave it to me. Leandro DiCaprio, and then it's just fun part of doing. But if we're really wrapping this up, I have to say one important message here is choose your team. Choose your team wisely. And there's nothing I've done. I know I took the personal effort and the financial risk on my own, but without my team here that I appreciate so much, I would not be in here, even talking to you today. I promise you, the team made this happen, not me. I had the vision and the drive, a little bit of craziness to take those risks. That's what it takes. You can be 100% one of those adding 1+1 to see if it's gonna work or not. But without the entire team here at Beverly Hills Dental Lab, Mani Education, and our dentist that works for the research lab and our clinic and everything, if it's not up to them, we will not have this podcast. I promise you, pick the team wisely. Eliminate the one you guys can work together. Keep the best around you. Treat them well. Pay them well. And this is how you can make it. Without them, forget.
True story.
I said it before, you're going to need to listen to this a few times just because there's so many lessons in everything that you've said. Sam, thank you so much for your time and your generosity with your stories and your commitment to excellence for us as dentists, because without a great team around us and without a great lab technician, we're up a creek. And so it's amazing that we have technicians like you that will partner with us and teach us and mentor us so that we can treat our patients like the people that are in those photos behind you. You know, we don't all get to see celebrities, but we need to treat them with the same level of care. And you help to do that.
Every patient is a celebrity. Every patient.
That's right.
The one goes on TV and the one they've never been on a TV. Every patient is a celebrity. Every patient is as important. There's no difference. We just need to go, when we go home, we need to sleep at night. We're not feeling guilty about anything because we're perfectionists. We're going to overthink it, you know, but thank you for the great message here also. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everybody. My gosh, we'll make this happen again somehow, some way, we promise. But thanks for being here, Sam. Pam,
My pleasure.
take us home.
All right, everybody.
Technician you interviewed?
Oh,
you're our first, actually.
You're the guy.
Okay, cool. Because I was gonna circle back and listen to someone and learn something as a lab technician. But hey, I'm glad to be here, and thank you again.
Thank you. Well, we will certainly have more on because I know I love lab technicians. I feel like I couldn't live without them. So I think, you know, the message from a lab technician is extremely powerful. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us this week for Dentistry Unmasked. Please join us next week, and please follow and subscribe and review us and do all the things, because we want to keep this show on the road and keep going. We want to get out to Beverly Hills so we can do a round 2 here. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching or listening to the show this week, and thanks to our guests and sponsors on this episode.
Please check out our social media at Dr. Pamela_Maragliano and at Dental Economics Official.
Or you can check me out at Ignite DDS or at Dr. David Rice.
And go to dentaleconomics.com to receive dental economics. You can choose to receive DE in print or digitally, and you can also get the details of our Principles of Practice Management conference on our website.
If you have topics or guests or anything you'd like to talk about on the show, send us an email to dentistryunmaskedpodcast@gmail.com, and we will do our very best to make it happen. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.